Hello and welcome to ParentTown. Today we have Dr. Irene Chua. She's a gynecologist from the clinic of Irene Chua Clinic for Women. And today she's going to be speaking to us about confinement practices from a gynecologist's point of view. So let's just get into it, the questions.
Well, I must admit that I may not be very traditional in this aspect because speaking from personal experience, my family does not practice confinement fully. So basically, we have actually our confinement and need to advise us, and then mom will have her own say as to what she feels is best for the daughter. So likewise, I think for the Malays and the Indians, we have a basic idea, but I guess we are here to see what is the commonly things that are done, whether they are scientifically proven, whether some of them we can continue, or whether some of them we should actually maybe look at it in a different view.
That's very interesting. So let's just get into the questions then. So I'm going to be dividing the questions into two parts. So in the beginning, I'm going to focus on questions from a cultural perspective. And the second portion, I'll focus on questions regarding food. So what can they eat, what can they not eat? Okay, so let's look into the different cultures first and the confinement practices and how they vary. So we have a question from a mom, and she says, the Chinese practice confinement practices religiously, whereas you have the Caucasians who do not practice confinement practices at all, but they tend to grow up quite healthy, as we've seen. So is there any scientific basis to the Chinese confinement practices?
Well, no real scientific evidence, I would say. But then again, I was told by my auntie, who is a doctor, that even though there's no scientific evidence, following it still helps to protect your body in the long term. So I wouldn't say totally poo-poo everything.
Okay.
So she says, okay, the typical Chinese, you need to cover your head, not wash your hair, otherwise the wind will get in. You need to wear socks, long pants. Something weird though, you can have aircon, but not the fan.
Okay.
So these are what people tell you, but it's not something that you find in books, or is there a rationale, or is there you could do a case control study, 100 women that go through this, 100 women that doesn't, and then what's the outcome in the next 20 years. So it's very, I would say, individual, very subjective, and it also depends on the lady's baseline to start off with. If you're a bouncing person, good health, obviously you do well post-confinement. If you're somebody who doesn't really exercise, likewise, if you have a good confinement, you may not turn out very well in the end. So it's very subjective, I would say.
Okay, that was quite interesting. Okay, so we'll move on to the next question. And this focuses on Malay confinement. So as part of the Malay confinement practice, they apply a paste on their bodies and on their forehead of param and pilis. So this is a traditional herb, and it has to be grounded into a powder, and then they then add water to it, and it's applied to the mother, and it's said to remove excess wind for a new mother. So does this have any scientific basis to it?
This is not the same as the jamu massage or the wraps that the Malays do, yeah? Is it the same?
I would not say so though. It's just focusing on param and pilis, and I'm not so sure.
Okay. Well, I'm not familiar with that, honestly, but I think even for the Chinese, you have various ways of applying medication, using herbal baths. So I think every single culture, they have their own way of feeling that certain things can get the women to get away the wind faster, to remove the dirty blood faster, to get them into health faster. So, but no, I don't think there is any medical proven benefit.
Okay. So again, with a Malay confinement practice, another practice is to not consume salted fish and prawns for the first 40 days, as it's said to cause allergies and itchiness. Is this true?
Salted fish. Salted fish, that means the preserved fish and salted vegetables, or is it just fish cooked in salt?
I would say maybe it could be like ikan bilis, or it could be
like nasi lemak kind.
Maybe that kind of salted fish, or salted fish in general?
Well, I guess salted fish is not healthy anyway.
Yeah.
So during confinement, you have lost, during delivery, you lose a lot of blood. So understandably, you want to build up your supplies, you want to have a good nutrition. So I think there's a certain truth in it, because salted fish, salted vegetables, is even to a normal person, it's not considered one of the health food.
I see. And what about prawns?
Salted prawn or just prawns?
I think prawns in general.
I think even in the Chinese practice, we think that prawn can cause itchiness. I think mainly prawn is a common allergen. So people associate with that, and just to play safe, they just omit prawn from the diet for that critical month or the critical 40 days.
So would you recommend as well omitting prawns?
For those who have confidence that they don't have any problems, I'm okay for them to eat it. But for those who are a little bit more doubtful, then I say, okay, maybe just wait a while and see.
Okay, so that's generally good advice then.
Because I don't want to get them into trouble also, I say, oh, they can eat, and after that they turn out in a big rash.
Exactly, Okay, good point. So let's talk about the confinement period, like the number of days. So with the Malays, the confinement period is 44 days, and for the Indians it is 40 days, and for the Chinese it is 28 days. So which is correct?
Then we ask the Caucasian then.
Good point.
But why is that 44 days? Is there what's the magic number?
The magic number, I guess if you look at the middle, look at...
Actually, I think I know why. Because lochia, the dirty blood that expels out, usually we will say clears in 42 days, which is 6 weeks. So I can understand why the 44 or 42 number comes about. So I'm not too sure why the Chinese is 28 now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe just to play safe.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright. So we'll move on to the Indian custom. So Indian Punjabis are made to eat a dish called panjiri. And panjiri is generally made of whole wheat flour, and this flour is fried in sugar and ghee, and later on they add dried fruits and healthy gums. So we have a question from a mom saying that she believes that this food gives her vital nutrients, but it leaves her feeling very heaty. So she was wondering if there's anything she can do to feel lighter and less heaty.
I guess all the things that they do during confinement, it's like ghee, it makes you warm, it keeps the heat in. That's why Chinese, you wrap yourself up to keep the heat in. So that's probably the reason. High fiber, so that at least your bloating, all these can be cleared. So to feel lighter, of course you can omit those food, but then you won't be sticking into the tradition anymore.
So she's asking if there's anything she can eat that would make her feel less heaty.
But then again, if you ask her to eat like cooling food, then it goes against the tradition. Like cooling food, watermelon, bean sprout. Then the Chinese will say, no, this is the, in Chinese saying, too liang.
Too liang?
Yeah, and if it's too cooling, then they'll say that, oh, you will get brittle bones, you'll get bone ache in future. So I'll probably say for that 40 or 44 days, just tahan for the time.
Just tahan?
Yeah.
Okay, moms, just tahan. Okay. Alright.
Because what happens is that at least it doesn't harm them during this 44 days. So there's no need to go against it. Just go with it.
Take it free and easy. Alright. Okay. So next question. So we have, it's popular in India to give a new mother a lot of porridge. So they generally give them mung bean soup. And it's said to help in the recovery during childbirth. So is there any scientific basis to this?
Mung bean soup.
Mung bean soup.
It's a kind of bean.
I think it's a green bean.
Okay. Sorry, I probably have no comments about that.
No comments. Okay.
That's not something I'm very familiar with.
Okay, well, that's fine. I think we just switch to the next question then.
Okay.
So Indian mothers are given a mixture of water and carom seeds, and this is said to help them get rid of the dirty blood in the uterus. So it's meant to basically cleanse the uterus. So is there any scientific basis to this?
Well, I think normally during delivery, if let's say we do it in the hospital basis, we do give medication to clear the dirty blood already.
I see.
So the rest of the remnant dirty blood will be cleansed spontaneously by the body. But of course, I think there's there could be some properties within the carom seeds that could help it. I cannot totally deny it. I guess in the Chinese culture, they also give longan red date soup to help to build up the blood stores and sometimes to cleanse the dirty blood also. So I guess to actually know whether it's truly useful, maybe we need to analyze what's inside the currency.
Okay.
And see whether there is the cleansing blood properties.
What are the cleansing blood properties?
Maybe some chemical inside, because after all the chemicals we give, some of them are derived from plants.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is like nature's cleansing methods.
Maybe.
Okay, so if you're looking for a more natural approach, there are traditional medicines we can use.
Yeah, I think it's just like when people in confinement, they try to increase the breast milk production. Some people, they take fenugreek, which is also a plant product.
Yes.
Yeah, they also take raspberry tea, which is also a plant product. But all these sometimes I think they do contain some medicinal effect, which is beneficial for the body, but also has the advantage of helping you to achieve what you want.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay. So now let's move on to the foods. So foods, moms mainly are asking what they can and cannot eat during confinement period. So let's go on to the first question. So is it compulsory to consume vinegar during the confinement period?
If you're talking to a Chinese, they will say yes, completely.
Okay.
Yeah, but again, I don't think there's any scientific basis. So for women who like vinegar, they love confinement. For those who don't, then they just have to trudge through it.
Just go through it.
So no, I don't think there's any real benefit from taking vinegar. It's just like sometimes they also add lots of rice wine into the diet for women in confinement. Then for women who are breastfeeding, then sometimes it may contradict a little bit. Is that how much rice wine can you take and how much rice wine goes into the breast milk while you're breastfeeding? Yeah.
Exactly, good point. Okay. So let's move on to the next question. So one mom is asking, can I have durian during my confinement period?
My answer is why not?
Why not?
Unless after eating durian you find the baby break out in a rash. I mean, if the baby poops durian, smells durian, that's fine.
That's fine, that's completely fine.
No problem.
So all of you who love durian, go ahead, have it as much as you want.
Unless the mom is diabetic, of course.
Okay.
Then we wouldn't advise that.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so we're moving on to the last question. I was told to avoid ginger whilst breastfeeding as there is a fear of jaundice. However, many confinement foods contain ginger. What should I do?
I think that's a age-old question. So, very easy. Whenever babies go home, they always have a jaundice check.
Yes.
To check the level of how bad the bilirubin is. So we take cue from the pediatrician. If there is any sign that the baby's jaundice level is getting higher, we just avoid that. If baby is fine, there's no reason why we should not be consuming ginger during confinement. However, if baby has a particular condition called G6PD deficiency, then I would advise completely to avoid ginger throughout, even during the baby's childhood years.
I see.
Because that can affect the baby's liver.
Okay, well that was very good information. Thank you, Dr. Irene.
You're welcome.
We really appreciate having you here.
Not at all.
And for all you moms out there, Dr. Irene would love to answer your questions on ParentTown, so please feel free to post your questions. And Dr. Irene, is there any important parting advice you'd like to give to your audience?
Well, I think if you live in Singapore and belong to one of our multiracial group like Chinese, Indian or Malays, you definitely will have to do some form of confinement. If it's your first time, it may be exciting, it may be terrifying. It's always good to experience it once and for all. Not once and for all. But keep an open mind. I think the most important thing is listen to what the elders say. I don't think any of these confinement practices are totally wrong. Obviously, some of them have no scientific evidence, but we won't die by just following it. And main thing is take a healthy diet, get enough rest so that you can build up your body to look after your baby after the confinement period.
Oh, that was great. Thank you.
Thank
you so much, Dr. Irene.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you at our next session. Bye.